Welcome to Boyd Digital HQ. We're here as Robert Whiteford, Scotland's only and top UFC fighter, who we sponsor and work with on his digital media. I'd just like to take this opportunity to introduce Gregor Miller, who's one of our social media managers. And Gregor's going to ask Robert a few questions that he's thought up himself, that the team's thought up, and the wider internet is sent in for us. So, over to you, Gregor.
What are your thoughts on how the MMA scene's kind of doing in the UK at the moment? It seems to be definitely growing. But
in the UK and Europe as a whole is great. I think Scotland's still.
It's got some room to improve.
You're lucky if I can get in the local paper back home, you know what I mean? That's terrible it is. So I'm probably better not getting started on that, because I'd be here all day wagging the media outlets and stuff.
In terms of the UFC's expansion into Europe, do you think that's working well?
Well, that's massive. You've got Gary Cook, he's the ex-CEO of Manchester City, and he's pushing it.
Right.
He knows his job, so that's why that's expanding. And they're just trying to branch and reach into other European countries, as in Scotland. I think they're coming to Scotland next year.
You think Glasgow will happen?
Yeah, 100% it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, time and where. I think they've got a Hydro in Glasgow now, so I think that's a suitable venue for them. They've already been and checked that out. So I think it's going to be first quarter of next year, hopefully. So I was looking to fight on the London card February, and then Glasgow later on in the year, April, May, around at that time. So I think, as if you call it, when the circus come to town, I think that's when there'll be more media attention and stuff, and hopefully it doesn't just for that one event. Hopefully media attention stays and the sport grows as a whole. The athletes like me start getting paid more, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There seems to be a lot more at a grassroots level through Facebook. I've seen MMA clubs in Paisley, Oban, up north in Aberdeen. There was a guy that did it in my hometown for a while, but he moved on, he got a cushy job somewhere else. So it seems to be, does seem to be growing.
Well, it's definitely growing, and as Scotland's a fighting nation, you know what I mean? They love to fight. It's anything with that involved, it's going to grow, but it's just going to take time.
Yep.
That's the thing. But as far as the MMA community growing, which is always going to happen, you want to get the general public involved, you know what I mean? You want them to see the sport as a different aspect rather than it just being barbaric fighting. You need to educate them, get them involved, and then it changes everybody's opinion of it. So then maybe come a Saturday night, the UFC event comes on, it's in Europe, it's the right time scale for people to watch. A local pub will stick it on, you know what I mean? Rather than it being boxing or football or something. That's you need to change the outlook.
Yeah. I mean, one thing for me, the different elements of MMA, the groundwork, the footwork, the standing and trading. Once you understand what people are trying to do and how to defend that and how to counter it, it becomes a much more interesting
that's what I mean. People need to get educated on it, and that only happens through the media outlets. And they're never going to see if it's in the dark, you know what I mean? So that's going to be forward as the media, and I've told my management and stuff, and they get pissed off with me, but I've told them a million times, what I'm going to face, they need to keep addressing it and get the media involved, like you guys, and this happening. So it can happen, and it's not going to happen anywhere else, because there's nobody else in the UFC in Scotland. You know what I mean? We've got one girl from our club in the Grip House in Glasgow, Joanne. She's on the Ultimate Fighter season just now, and so she'll go on to fight in the UFC, but right now I'm flying solo here, you know what I mean? So somebody needs to do it, and it's not going to happen with some guy who's fighting on SFC in Stirling, because nobody's interested in that. You know what I mean? The big UFC is the big show, so it needs to come from me, and it needs to come from people like Joanne, who's going to be going on to fight in the UFC. So it really needs to be addressed.